What is going on, everyone? And welcome back to another About Teams video. And today is our NHL weekend recap where some series have ended, but some have not, as we have one more series left. This series going to a Game 7, like we actually both predicted. For Edmonton, I don't know how accurate we've been on this series, but we've been pretty much nail right there. I mean, we said this would be a game where McDavid has a breakout game, whether it's goals or like 4 assists. What does he do this game? 3 assists. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins steps up. This was kind of the Edmonton blowout. I, at least, even as the Canucks to win this series, had in the thing. Like I told you, it would be like, you'll get one of those games where it's like 6-1 or just kind of looks off. And that was the game tonight. Edmonton showed up, tied the series at 3. Their defense played much better, only allowing, obviously, 15 shots. And when you do that, you're pretty much guaranteed to win. With the high-powered offense the Oilers had, they were due for this. This still doesn't change my prediction, though, because I think we've been around this. I picked the Oilers to win Game 6, even though I have the Canucks win the series. I think this has been a series of 2 teams back and forth, but I trust the Canucks' depth in a Game 7. The Oilers got their one game I was worried about out of the way, where it was kind of a blowout. Everyone shows up. I was expecting that in the series. But Game 7 in Vancouver, that place is going to be rocking. Give me my Canucks in this one. I had the Canucks in 7. I'm not aborting ship now in Game 7.
Okay. Well, we're both staying in pat. I'm not going off Edmonton. I'm rocking with McDavid till he's done. Now that the Bruins are out, which we'll get into later, this is my team for the finals. Happened last year where the Bruins got knocked out, and I rooted for Edmonton. So I'm gonna stick by my guns. I didn't really like when I first saw Skinner was in net. I didn't like it. He had a very shaky first half of the series, but he picked it up this game, and I mean, it helps when your defense is only letting 15 shots get through. But really, this game was dominated by Edmonton for 45 minutes. I mean, pretty sure it was 1-1, maybe after 1. Sorry, I just had a lot of series going on, so I can't recall right off the top of my head.
I think you were right, though. It was 1-1 for a little bit, and then
then pretty much Edmonton's second goal opened the floodgates, and just they were skating circles around Vancouver, and that's the game that we're used to seeing McDavid play. Faster, stronger, smarter than everybody else on the ice, and he showed that. He had 3 beautiful passes that all helped his team score goals. Evan Bouchard, another big game. He had that OT winner, or not OT winner, but like last second goal 2 games ago in Edmonton. So he's having a big series, and everybody's going to need to step up because Vancouver, like you said, in Vancouver it gets rowdy. So it's going to be a big game, but I'm riding with McDavid. Game 7, McDavid is going to show up.
Game 7, Brock Besser will be the story of this one. Vancouver's or Edmonton is obviously riding momentum after that win, but I knew this was kind of coming. Like, I knew there would just be one game, and you talked about this too, where McDavid's just going to have a lot of assist points, where he looks like the best player on the ice. But I'm glad that it's kind of over with now. That's kind of flushed out of his system. We get to a Game 7. I just trust the depth of the Canucks, home ice advantage. I think it'll be close, 3-2 type of game, but I trust Vancouver to get it done. Despite the goaltending problems on both teams, I still like the Canucks. I think they'll be fiery, pissed off a little bit after that blowout, kind of getting embarrassed. But I trust my team that I picked. Got to stick with my gut, but that doesn't change how I feel about Edmonton. Still a great team. Very top heavy, though, in my opinion. And McDavid's still the best player in the world. But Canucks, we got this. Let's ride.
Yeah, this is probably the series I think we've been most accurate on. So we'll see who comes out on top. Pretty much, yeah.
It's been great so far. I mean, we look like sports geniuses in this one.
I know, right? This is helping my my basketball bit. basketball picks were rough.
Yeah, but there is one series that I'll let you basically cook on this. This is your team. I got the ability to watch it, so I'll just add some thoughts in after. But obviously, Nick, passionate fan,
Yeah.
live in Boston. What are your thoughts on this, man?
I mean, I knew like I kept saying, games 5 and going into game 6, it was an elimination game for the Bruins, so they were going to play tough, and they did. They played tough on home ice. Came out swinging late in the first period with that first goal, and it was a beautiful, just all around play. But I mean, you got to know against Florida, one goal will not win you the game. And lo and behold, I'm pretty sure in the second period they net a goal and nodded at one, and then just of course it's almost like deja vu from last year, just in the corner, swimming up against the post, kind of a nothing shot. He just throws it on net, and it sneaks by Swayman for a goal, and that ultimately is what decides the series. But if you're a Bruins fan and you were going and looking at, just the stats, you forget regular season. Regular season doesn't matter. It doesn't mean shit in the playoffs. I'm sorry. Looking at these two teams on paper, the matchups, Florida is the better team. They're the better team than probably 25 other NHL teams, and you're one of them, unfortunately. Swayman still played great. Who would have thought Swayman's their best player yet again? But the Bruins just aren't there. You can see it, and it's not even just in this series. It's in the Oilers series, the Avalanche series with the Stars, just all these other series. Whenever I'm watching them with my dad, we're just talking about how faster these other teams look. Like it's so much easier for them to do everything than the Bruins. The Bruins have to, fight and scrap just to get the puck in the offensive zone, and these teams are just flying around. So there's a lot to work on with Boston. If they had a year, it was probably last year, and they blew that too. So step one is bring back Swayman. When you're looking at the list of problems, he's last. He's the last name. He's below probably some of the coaches.
Whoa, are we calling for a head coach?
No, not Montgomery. Not Montgomery. I don't think he's not the one out there scoring one goal a game in these elimination games, but there's a lot. They need another piece because Pastrnak alone. I mean, when he's alone, the other team's just going to shut him down, clearly, because he had, I think, 1 or 2 goals in this whole series. So, I mean, I'll tip my cap to Florida. They're the better team. They're going to give New York a fight. That's going to be a great series. But the Bruins, this is the team to beat now for you. You've been eliminated back-to-back years. These are your Maple Leafs. What you are to the Maple Leafs, these guys are to you now. So there's a lot to work on, to say the least. And bring back Swayman. Like, give him a blank check. He's the reason you didn't get swept.
Yeah. Good job cooking. My opinion, from a non-biased point of view, I agree. Going into the series, I said the one difference between these two teams is speed. Florida's just faster. I think they're more skilled. And they showed that most of the series. I think this was honestly Boston's best effort, even in the games they won. I feel like game 1, it's a 5-1 win. But like I've stated multiple times, it did not feel like a 5-1 win, at least time possession, zone. I think Florida just peppered a lot of shots, but nothing like Swayman just balling out. That was really the key in that one. Even in their last game, making a save right at the end on Reinhart to steal game 5 from Florida. The series was a battle, but yeah, it is like deja vu. 1 minute to go, Florida takes the lead, just like how they tied it up in game 7 last year. And you're right. You got to be able to build your team around teams that are just better than you. You got to get, I'd say, I don't know how much cap space they have.
They've got a good amount. They're, I think, top.
They gotta get faster. They gotta get faster. I like Marchand. I loved some of the older players, but there comes a time when physicality You need some of that, but you also need just skill and talent. And they have a blessing in Kachuk, who's like both of those, like very grimy, and they've got a lot of players that will get to the front of the net, but are also really skilled and can just get by you with ease and score the pretty goals too. Florida is just a well-balanced team, and yeah, I'm looking forward to a preview probably tomorrow of them and the Rangers. That'll be a great series. But yeah, shout out to the Panthers. Just down 1-0 in Boston. You're thinking, are we gonna have to? Is it gonna be a reverse? And we go back to Florida, and Boston pulls it off. But they held firm. Were making pushes, but Boston put up probably their best fight I saw this whole series. They had some chances at the end. But yeah, I think the better team won this series.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I think the Bruins are stuck in 2011, with they don't want to let guys like Marchand go. They're trying to bring in guys like they signed Lucic this year, who unfortunately, he had off the ice issues but they bring in Pat Maroon.
Even then, I didn't love that Saturday.
They bring in these bruisers that it's like that's not how you play anymore, because Pat Maroon did nothing in the series, and of course off the ice, he's talking in interviews saying like, "Oh, I'm trying to fight people, like they don't want to fight me." It's like, no shit, dude, they don't want to fight you because fighting screws your team over. They'd rather score 5 goals on you than fight you. Like,
yeah, when Bruins fans at the trade deadline were saying, we got Pat Maroon, as a Minnesota Wild fan who was with him for most of the first half of the season. I mean, I was like, he doesn't do anything.
That was the big acquisition too. Like, obviously they gave up all their capital last year when they went all in, and that didn't work.
Yeah, and I respect that. You had one of the best teams ever, regular season wise.
I agree with it.
Pat Maroon didn't move me.
Yeah. I would have just rather them stay pat and play their young guys than try to bring in a guy who's just slower than everybody on the ice, ineffective.
Yeah, isn't doing anything.
No,
he's not. He doesn't do anything.
You just hope he laid the one hit I remember him laying was the first game of the playoffs when he hit a Toronto player into the benches or something, and everyone got all fired up, and then he was just kind of skating around afterwards, skating behind everybody because he's just slower than everybody. So
it's a shame.
Not how you play anymore. It's not. There's no more fighting anymore in the playoffs, guys. Like,
yeah, I agree. Very, very disappointing. But
I think Sam Reinhart. I know there's a Florida player, goal scorer, who's a free agent, and
you guys got Sam Reinhart. That'd be something.
Because he's a center. The Bruins need a goal scoring center who's good in the face-off zone, all that stuff. That's what he is. And he obviously
that would be very good to steal him from your basic rival now. You're trying to beat. But with that being said, we'll talk about another rivalry, another great series. It's going to be my team for the playoffs. Threw money on them. Love this team, even though they're a division rival of the Minnesota Wild. The Dallas Stars, man, they're going to the Western Conference Finals, going back for the second straight year after losing to the Vegas Golden Knights in 6 last year. Kind of like a Carolina Hurricanes. Almost came back from a 3-0, but couldn't do it. But this time, they win in Colorado, win Game 6, no Game 7. But, boy, I mean, this was a great game. Shout out to Georgiev, though. Really, I mean, I was criticizing him most of the series, and rightfully so, but he stepped up in the last 2 games. Obviously, went to double OT, but the Dallas Stars won the war of attrition. Just got it done when they needed to. Jake Onger, once again, another outstanding game. I mean, just Jake Onger is a different breed when it comes to the NHL playoffs. I think the Stars, I mean, this is what happens. You don't get really your top lines and Jason Robertson, Wyatt Johnson, they don't do too much this game, but you know what? Jamie Benn has the ability to score. Matt Duchene has the ability to score, gets the OT winner. I just love the Stars' depth, and I've been talking about this all season or all postseason that we've done this podcast. I think they're just the most complete team. Great goaltending, solid defense, and just they got offense. One of the rare teams where that fourth line to the top line have all the ability to produce, and that's been the beauty of this postseason. The Avalanche kind of in a weird spot, defending champs, now out second round after being out first round last year, so they made a deeper run than last year. But the Dallas Stars are going to run this. They're young. They're going to run this Western Conference, I think, for a little bit because they just got the right mix of youth and veterans like Jamie Benn, Joe Pavelski. Even though I don't like him, Ryan Suter on that back end. And then they, like we talked about, Jason Roberts and Wyatt Johnson, who's been outstanding this playoffs. Love my Dallas Stars. Big win in OT because if you went to Game 7, we know how much experience Colorado has in Game 7s, but I love the Stars team.
Mm-hmm. Depending on who wins this Game 7 tonight, I may or may not pick the Stars. To go.
I'm sorry if the Dallas Stars are beating whoever we'll talk about preview tomorrow, but Dallas is just that team. They are that team.
Okay. Whatever you say. But yeah, big shout out. Shout out to the defenses too. The defenses in this game played, outstanding. You go into double OT, usually you're seeing, 50 shots on goal, each goalie having like 45 saves, but you can see the score bug here in the statistics, Dallas only had 30 shots on goal in double overtime. That is not a lot. That's, 5 periods or 4.5 because it ended like halfway through, but 4.5 periods of hockey and you're only giving up 30 shots on goal. That's pretty good. That's good defense. So big shout out to them.
Yeah. I'm happy, man. Like I said, Nathan MacKinnon, that top line of Colorado is going to do damage. You just got to contain it. And I feel like they did a good job most of the series.
You might have to cash out now because, Stars go down 3-1. You might be cooked. That cash out's going to be very thin.
Yeah. If I'm Dallas, just biggest keys to next playoff series, just don't blow 3-goal leads. Don't get too comfortable. This is still the playoffs. They could have – we talked about this. They could have won in 4. They could have swept them if they didn't blow a 3-goal lead in Game 1. And Dallas has a weird thing that they just can't win Game 1s, even if they're at home or on the road. Don't know what that is. But who knows? Edmonton or Vancouver. I still think it'll be a great series, but Avalanche and Edmonton give me same vibes. Top heavy, questionable goaltending. I think Dallas just straight up better. Obviously, Edmonton might have the best player in the world, but Nathan MacKinnon is probably top 3, top 5 at the very worst. So shout out to Colorado. Still a great season. But Dallas, I think the better team, is moving on in this series. And another prediction where we can mark that down for Jake.
But I think if correct me if I'm not sure if you heard this. I heard this on one of the broadcasts. If Vancouver ends up winning Game 7, I think it's going to be the first time in playoff history where 4 1 seeds are all in the
That is very rare. That is very rare because the President's Trophy winner hasn't made it past the second round, and the Rangers were able to do that. Even though it looked like for a second we were going to a Game 7. That is very weird because typically you see a lot of upsets in playoff hockey, but really nothing.
No, there hasn't been upsets.
But I think that goes to show more so how strong these top teams really are. I think Florida, we saw what they have the capability to do going to the playoffs or going to the finals last year. Dallas, as a 1 seed, defeating the defending champions round 1 down 0-2. They were never rattled. It's just been they just got a lot of strong teams in this playoffs this year. And the one
it's going to make for a great conference finals game or conference finals series. Best of best.
Panthers Rangers. I don't know who I'm going to pick in that one.
Me neither.
But we'll talk about that more in our previews tomorrow. Don't want to give too much away. But with that being said, make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content, and we'll catch you in the next video.